Guys, let's circle back. I was talking to you about comments that Daniel Cormier made over the weekend about Khamzat Chimaev, but another thing that the Big Bear said. Chimaev's got what the media has labeled a bromance with Darren Till. These guys are best of friends, and I think they're living together, or at least when they travel, they're staying together. They're going grocery shopping together. Michael Bisping told this story about them driving through traffic, and they're on the wrong side of the road. And he didn't know if Chimaev was a reckless driver, if Chimaev just didn't know the rules in North America that we drive on this side. Either way, everywhere they go, you're hearing about both of these guys together. At the last fight there was a cameo. They're both in the front row and they're sitting together. There's just something about this relationship. They're also documented. I've seen things on YouTube. You've seen these guys together. You know about this. Now, Daniel weighed in on that. Listen to what he was talking about. It's a very interesting topic because Daniel said it's a mistake. He said, I love it. I'm sure both guys are great guys. I'm sure they're having fun. Daniel wasn't putting them down in the least. He just said from a marketing standpoint that it's a mistake, that Chimaev should remain mysterious. Now, here's the question. I'm going to ask a question to myself. Do I agree? Generally, yes. And in the short term, Daniel is right. There is something about Chimaev in broken English barely being able to communicate with the audience. And he can bring them to their feet in 2 to 3 sentences. There is something about him being unknown and being a mystery always works. Give you guys the same example every time. But the reason the great Paul Heyman speaks for Brock Lesnar, according to Vince McMahon, and people that know Brock's a very smart guy. He's even a gracious guy. He's got a great character. But according to Vince McMahon, monsters don't talk. And for 22 years, they've been able to sell out the biggest arenas in the world with Brock Lesnar to just go out there and be a monster. Now, before any of you think you have to update me and that I haven't been watching wrestling in the 9 months, I know I haven't watched a lot of it in the last 9 months, and I do know that Brock has a new character. Brock doesn't have Paul with him, and Brock is now doing his own talking, and Brock is bigger than he's ever been. I get that. Sometimes it goes the other way. But the calculation of Vince McMahon is still very relevant, and I still want you to know that monsters don't talk. Okay, great. That's it. As simple as that. I give the Brock example because I'm well aware that in the last cycle, leading up even to this weekend's WrestleMania, of which Brock headlined, he is now talking. Look, it ended up being a great surprise. Turned out Brock was great. I'm more into the character than ever. And I'm definitely a mark. But sometimes I think I'm right anyway. I think that Brock on a human level is enjoying his career now more than he ever has. At least for me as an audience member, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a guy for the first time ever. It's like he wants to be there. I'm seeing a natural smile and laughter in the face and even within the eyes of Brock Lesnar that I have never seen in front of camera before. I've seen it off camera. You won't meet people that have met Brock off camera that say anything bad. Everybody likes Brock. But Vince didn't think you could tell that story the same, not to mention if you have a monster who turns out to be a really nice guy, does it work? According to Vince, it didn't. And for 20 years, they did damn good business. I am seeing the same exact point that Daniel Cormier is making about Chimaev. And in the short term, it could hurt. It could. Chimaev is massive right now. Where do you go once you're massive, right? That is basic biology. Anything that is red hot can only cool off. So when you got something that's working, even Vince McMahon didn't want to change directions with Brock. He squeezed that juice for 20 years till some bitch was 43 years old before he took the risk of changing, which I admit ended up working. But I think Daniel's point is still very valid. Why would you change anything with Chimaev is it's working? And then Daniel went a step further to identify for you what it is you like, whether you know it or not. You like that you don't know him. You like that you're not seeing all these great things. You like that they're coming from the Michael Bispings, from the Darren Tills, from the Latifis, from the Alexander Gustafsons of the world. You like the rumors. You like the reputation. One other one that I saw to talk about monsters and they don't talk about was Francis Ngannou. And Francis did not do very many interviews, and I didn't want him to. Don't. He for sure went under the category of mysterious. He for sure goes into the category of a monster. He's a physical specimen. I've always wanted to look like Francis Ngannou. Francis started talking roughly a year ago. And I did a very similar statement on Francis Ngannou as Daniel just did on Chimaev. I said he needs to stop. This is a mistake. He is red hot. He's missing why people like him. Francis, it was like a Brock Lesnar, right? They got Brock wrong for 20 years. I got Francis wrong. It turned out that he did better, that he had a personality, that there was something there, that we got to know him more. But in the short term, it was not helpful. So if that's what Daniel's talking about, it's all a matter of how it plays out. Just because the Brock worked out or just because Francis turned out to be a really likable guy, we don't know. We don't know. The stories of him driving on the wrong side of the road and Bisping telling him to pull over and he wants out of the car. You may not even know that you like about him. You like about Chimaev that you don't know about Chimaev. You like about Chimaev not what you've seen. You only seen the guy for 4 minutes. The guy's only been in there for 4 minutes. You like that he's mysterious. You like that his English is broken. You like that you're not totally sure if what you heard is what he meant to say. Daniel Cormier makes a point. Now, this is an experiment, like anything. Anything in life is hindsight 2020. An X amount of period of time has to go by, and you look back and you see. But I'm going to remember that Daniel said this, because I agree with Daniel. I agreed with Vince when it came to Brock. I agreed with myself when I said it about Francis. I admit I got that one wrong. Let's see. Is more Chimaev better than less Chimaev?